Hi, and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy Saturday night to join me. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully, you're greeted with some awful thumbnail that shows the lids of my eyes. As it would be, it's my, common argument that I have at least once a night here on my dolo by myself without anyone knowing. And I appear to be crazy from the surface, I bet, but if they only knew. Anyways, how are you, YouTube? All right, tonight we're talking about a couple of things. Listen, I show speed. I love speed. I'm 37 years old. I'm about to give some love to just one of the most popular dudes ever. And I got to tell you, one, I'm digging the kid's energy, and two, I really do appreciate, admire, and respect anyone and everyone out there who seeks to traverse the global earth. The whole world, it's at your fingertips. And I couldn't be more realistic about that. I mean, forget arbitrary borders, forget laws, forget governments from just all around the world trying to exploit billions of people simultaneously. Let's just, I mean that. That's not, I know it sounds trolly, but it's not. Forget all the haters, you feel me? Do what you do. And more power to you if you're able to, visit different continents. I gotta tell you, to be completely honest, and I know I'm sure at some point in the future, it's just one of those things, right? But as much of a fan as I am of, forming the world into one. And yes, I did just say that. I'm a social capitalist, but we'll get to that. Am I advocating for a single world order? I mean, I guess in and of itself, that's where singularity takes us. Eventually this happens, and it's not just me, it's just the way things work. So hopefully, in my life, I'll actually be able to see some sort of unified world government, and I am looking forward to it, honestly, because hopefully it'll sort of be in place to combat existential threats that come from us. Like all the other haters that want to dismantle and disassemble and sell the government for parts. Shout out to Trump and Musk, you feel me? Where's Sam Bateman? I'm sure he's in there too, and Peter Thiel. This is like the five musketeers. I'm sure that reference is so over a lot of you, and I'm completely not even with it too, because I have no idea who the Musketeers are. I just know that, when I was a little kid, it was kind of a meme, so you know what I mean. Alright, I prefaced with all that stuff, and I show speed or whatever, right? Because it's sort of like China, again, here's the thing. And here's why I ultimately didn't even finish what I was talking about as it pertains to my traveling in the future myself. I just feel like I probably wouldn't be welcome. And after, somebody from China hears this video, I'm sure I'll never be welcome there. But I gotta tell you that, one, I'm not a people hater, okay? First and foremost, I'm for the people. I literally, this is my entire life. I have, just a lot of ambition as it concerns, doing what's right, doing what's needed, not being able to be compromised because your boy here could care less about money. I mean, we've all seen Batman Begins, right? The Joker, still one of the greatest scenes ever. You burn that paper. Or don't. No, I can't advocate for that. That's a felony. I'm saying it in a satirical sense, right? Because of the movie Batman Begins, and oh boy, I'm sure they needed permission for that scene. Anyways, because, right, money runs the world, and it doesn't matter if it's a communist government, or if it's a capitalist government, or if it's a theocracy, or if it's, Middle Eastern people fighting over the same thing they've always been fighting over for thousands of years. It really doesn't matter, right? I mean, I truly mean this. Ultimately, ladies, gentlemen, they, them, the problem is the government. And while I would never advocate for, anarchy or totalitarianism or outright fascism or anything of that nature, because again, the way that singularity works in the sense of achieving great things, eventually political ideologies and hopefully governments will finally meet their match with things like AI, all right? So this is kind of the way that I think about these things, right? So moreover, the Chinese government sucks, okay? Like, so far as I'm concerned, the only people that have done communism right on the surface of this earth is Cuba, right? And so we all know that communism works in Cuba because of, well, the proximity that they have to resources, as well as, being a pretty small nation as it concerns the land surface that it occupies. And so more power to them, right? Again, I'm a social capitalist, and that's kind of where I want to meet with everybody in the middle here tonight. Is, while I truly believe that the Chinese government sucks, I could sit here for hours and tell you reasons why. Okay, so the factors of production in political ideology and in the reality of how things work are things that are either owned by private enterprise or, the government, or in some sort of fascist kind of world that we currently live in, the government and private. Who knows? Who cares, right? I mean, that's what they want you to think. But the thing is okay, so as a communist nation, China, the factors of production belong to the people. Okay, this is the definition of communism. It doesn't belong to a single people, right? Like tech companies, all these things, they belong to the government. Now, the government, again, as I've stated early, is like public enemy number one, okay? And let me tell you why, and especially in communist China, all right? Because communism doesn't seem to, alleviate any sort of discriminatory, perhaps G word that ends with a side kind of behavior as it concerns a lot of indigenous people that have inhabited these lands for who knows how long, right? And it just super sucks when people are put behind walls, put behind fences, made to, act a certain way, forced to do labor for $1 a day. I mean, Jesus Christ, this is horrific treatment. This is not cool. The Uyghurs population and, a lot of other poor people in China, they get treated terribly. So it really doesn't matter, okay? So as a political ideology, I'd lean a little bit more towards the communistic sort of principle in theory, right? Again, I now know just from looking at a map that communism in and of itself can't work here in America, and it never will, all right? So I'm sorry about that. But what I'm not sorry about is the future and how social capitalism could in fact be our bread and butter. We can sell the bread and eat the butter. I don't care what we do with it. I'm just saying that, there's got to be a better way to handle people and to provide people with the kind of lives that we've all come to know and expect. And, we only got Uncle Sam to blame for that. So thanks, Uncle Sam, for showing us, again, without trolling, the idea of democratic freedom and the principles that therein lie with, like, challenging the law. I mean, obviously, people that have challenged the law have become president. He's broken the law many, many times over, but yet the guy's still there, right? So, I mean, it's that American grind, baby. I mean, it's mind-blowing. It truly is when you think about things like this. I mean, right? We're struggling paycheck to paycheck, and, the best of the world, the 0.1% of the entire population's global wealth is owned by just, it's insane. And that's the kind of world that we live in. So, going back to kind of close these things out with I Show Speed and going to China, listen, I encourage young people to watch and learn and experience different things. It just sucks when I'm for communism, right? I'm for it. I think that if the Chinese government, if the CCP were to, be a little more open and flexible with accepting different people and able to work with just, like, I can't imagine a world where people got along. Can you imagine that if the CCP got along with, America, and there wasn't any sort of, conflict amongst rich white people, regardless of their religion, that just want to blow things up and count their money? I mean, it's almost as if we live in a cartoon, right? But all that I'm saying is it's important to have these conversations. To my young viewers, to my old people out there, like, get with the program. There's all different types of governments out there, and I would recommend highly that you learn about them and that you learn the ins and outs of what you do and you don't like about certain things. Again, fan of communism, not a fan of the CCP, not a fan of the Chinese government, not a fan of the Israeli government. I'm barely a fan of our government, but I gotta tell you, and I've been public with this before, this is, I was not able to pick the team that I was on, and nor would I go on any other team at any other point in my life, right? Like, I'm an American. That's what it is. So far as arbitrary borders and things like that go, my birth certificate says, like, does it say America? Or does it just have the state? It might just have the state. I think we're all just agents of the federal government. I don't think we really, like, it's some sort of loosely defined relationship that has a lot more to do with economics and made up money than it has to do with making sure that you have a roof over your head and that your health care is covered and that your children don't end up in eye-watering, staggering amounts of debt that they have to pay well into their 50s. I'm just saying, right, that, like, when things are going wrong, it's cool to just kind of step back, rationalize, think to yourself all of the, funny and hilarious things about all of what's happening in front of our own very eyes, right? I mean, like, if China is so anti-American, why are there so many American companies there? I mean, if China, I don't understand a lot of the world politics, right? And I don't think we're meant to. But again, it all comes down to the fact that we're all people. We all deserve and expect the same things from our government. And at the very least, we expect our government to not do things that harm innocent people. Like, these are our neighbors. These are our friends. These are our family members. There's no teams as it concerns, like, being a sentient, like, mofo here trying to live your life peacefully. I mean, you're on the side of wanting to live peacefully, and most of us don't want yachts and planes and excess and diseases, I'm sure, from all of the crazy physical behavior. Hey, I'm not a fan. I live your best life, you feel me? I have some interesting stories myself about all of the terrible decisions that I've made. I'm no saint. And that being said, let's break character. Listen, I have been absolutely enthralled with the amount of people that are tuning into this show now. It's kind of becoming a thing, I've said it in the past before. Consistency is where it's at, and I'm working and modeling my life in a very focused point to try and get some things done. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with, my failures, my career failures, right? I'm trying, and it's all you can do is try. So try. Don't give up, okay? We've already talked about those kinds of things. I'm not sure what this video was really about. I just know that I do really thoroughly appreciate seeing all the content from young people and speaking out against capitalism and the corrupt government that is currently at I would argue everyone's mind that is on planet Earth right now, right? Where it looks like most of us are getting treated, in a way that we shouldn't be treated from our governments. And that's a problem for me. That should be a problem for you. I mean, I don't want to live in a world where I have to worry about where I can and can't travel or where I can and can't speak my mind. I mean, come on, I just call it a privileged perspective, but this privileged perspective is something that, should be embraced, and I feel like many people should feel it. It's like, the gospel of free speech. You feel me? There's something cool and good about speaking your mind, about letting people know how you feel. I mean, if you don't let people know how you feel, they might not ever know, And that's kind of the thing, is like, I just love doing these videos, and I love the fact that so many people are watching, and I just really thank all of you guys, okay? So my name's Albert. This was Vlogs About Nothing, and before my phone falls, I'm working on getting a tripod again because remember I broke it. So hopefully that'll happen sooner than later. And for the record, I also don't like open doors while I'm vlogging. So shame on myself for leaving that door back open because there's something weird about open doors when you're making vlogs. I heard it earlier from another creator and I'm right there with them. So yeah. Anyways, we have a ghost in here. Maybe she could help me out. Wouldn't that be crazy if the door shut? Anyways, have a really good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.